What the fuck is that?
We're here. Oh gosh, this guy's gonna crash.
What you are watching was one of the black Corvettes that terrorized America. Street racers have been running from cops for decades, from the highways of California to the streets of Miami. However, there was one black Corvette that did things differently. For 3 months in 2024, this machine made the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department look absolutely helpless. Driven by a guy known online as the Stolen Z06, 10 police chases, 10 escapes, 0 arrests. Every night, the same script. Spot the cop, taunt them, hit full boost, and vanish. Every single time, he disappeared like smoke. So who was the man behind this ghost Corvette? And what drove him to do such things? The answer came in the story of a young man whose criminal activities made him one of the most wanted street racers in America. The Stolen Z06. In early 2024, a new mysterious Instagram account emerged under the name The Stolen Z06. The driver had built something extraordinary, a digital empire constructed on pure audacity and speeds. In an era where names like Squeezebends and other high-profile street racers were already dominating social media, this Z06 driver managed to be even more impressive. So the driver quickly capitalized, building a massive digital empire in a matter of weeks. The Stolen Z06 hacked the system. 375,000 followers on Instagram and tens of thousands more on TikTok. However, this wasn't just about building an audience. It was building an addiction where every follower was hooked on his next escape. But to feed that addiction, he needed a flawless script. The formula was simple. First, he would spot the patrol car. Then he would openly taunt the officers, sometimes driving right alongside them. The moment they noticed him and activated their lights, he hit full boost, disappearing instantly into the darkness. That calculated vanish was the recipe for his viral success, made even better when he captioned the clip with an arrogant phrase like "cruising with my buddy." And at the center of every frame was his signature machine, a fully blacked out 2018 Chevrolet Corvette Z06 that moved like smoke through the streets of Charlotte, Carolina. Yet here's where it gets interesting. Despite the provocative username, that Corvette was never actually stolen. Therefore, the name The Stolen Z06 wasn't a confession. It was marketing, a deliberate provocation aimed directly at the authorities who couldn't catch him. Moreover, the real message wasn't in his username. It was mounted on the back of his car. He had switched his legal license plate for a simple black frame with just 2 words: "Will run." This was more than a promise. It was a direct threat to the authorities that he was untouchable. And for 10 documented attempted traffic stops, the driver honored that contract every single time. Every single encounter ended in escape. As a result, every victory was captured on camera, meticulously edited, uploaded within hours. So, the Stolen Z06 wasn't just breaking the law, he was performing it. He had transformed criminal activity into content, danger into entertainment. But the question is, what made this black Corvette uncatchable? Before we answer that question, we need to take a look at the origins of this car. January 13th, 2013, the Detroit Auto Show. Under the blinding lights and cameras, Chevrolet unveiled something that would change the Corvette forever. The 7th generation, known simply as the C7. It was the first fully redesigned Corvette in nearly 2 decades, and it marked the beginning of a new era. For the first time since 1976, the legendary Stingray name returned, reborn with sharper lines and a design inspired by fighter jets. Base 2014 Stingray came with a 6.2-liter LT1 V8, producing 460 horsepower and hitting 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds. topping out at 185 miles per hour, and this less than $60,000. America had just built a supercar ordinary people could actually afford. But wait, there's more. Yet, as impressive as it was, Chevrolet's engineers weren't finished. They had bigger plans, to take everything they'd learned from decades of racing and push it to its absolute limit. That pursuit of performance led them to one name that carried 6 decades of heritage: Z06. Back in 1963, Corvette's chief engineer, Zora Arkus Duntov, had created the first Z06 package for one reason: to win. That original machine came equipped with heavy-duty brakes, stiffer suspension, a fuel-injected 360 horsepower V8, and racing tires. Only 199 units were ever built, and they dominated SCCA racing, proving that American engineering could stand shoulder to shoulder with Europe's best at Le Mans. Then the Z06 name disappeared for years, but it returned in 2001 with the C5 generation lighter, sharper, and born for the track. 5 years later, the C6 Z06 pushed things even further, screaming to 7,000 RPM with a naturally aspirated 505 horsepower V8 that became an instant legend. So when the C7 generation finally arrived, Chevrolet knew the next Z06 couldn't just perform, but it had to redefine what performance meant. Exactly 1 year after the Stingray's debut, on January 13, 2014, Chevrolet introduced the 2015 Z06 side-by-side with its race-bred twin, the C7.R. For the first time in Corvette history, the race car was based on the production model, not the other way around. At its heart was the LT4, a 6.2-liter supercharged V8 that changed everything. It produced 650 horsepower at 6,400 RPM and 650 pound-feet of torque at 3,600 RPM. With the Z07 package, it launched from 0 to 60 in just 2.95 seconds and could reach a top speed of 200 miles per hour. Absolute insanity. The Z06 also had a secret weapon, the Eaton TVS R2650 supercharger, a Roots-type blower pushing 9 psi of boost. This supercharger means no turbo lag, no hesitation, just instant, relentless power the moment you touch the throttle. That immediacy mattered. On the street, it meant instant boost, enormous low-end torque, and linear power delivery through all 8 gears. And for tuners, it was a dream. The LT4 could easily be pushed to 800, even 1,000 horsepower with just basic modifications. However, power alone wasn't what made the C7 Z06 special. Control was. The car turned physics itself into an ally. With perfect 50-50 weight distribution, a curb weight of just 3,558 pounds, magnetic ride control suspension, a wider stance than the Stingray, optional carbon ceramic Brembo brakes, and Michelin Pilot Supersport tires. The result was a machine carving through corners with surgical precision while police SUVs fought against physics. Another point that made this car unique is its technology and adaptability. Chevrolet had built a machine that could transform from a comfortable daily cruiser into a ruthless track weapon in seconds. Drivers could choose from 4 main modes: weather, tour, sport, and track, each altering the car's personality completely. Then came the advanced settings: My Mode and Z Mode. These 2 options changed everything. My Mode allowed drivers to personalize every aspect of the experience: throttle response, steering feel, suspension stiffness, even exhaust tone, and save it. Every time you started the car, it would wake up exactly the way you wanted. Z Mode, on the other hand, was what I love to call the hasta la vista baby button. One press, and the car transformed instantly. Throttle sharpened, suspension tightened, traction control relaxed, and the car can go full power instantly. For a street racer trying to disappear through the city, Z Mode was the vanish switch. However, was this enough to escape the police? Raw power alone doesn't explain how he escaped 10 times. To understand that, we need to shift perspectives and look at the hunters. The Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department isn't some small-town force. They're professionals, equipped with good vehicles, trained officers, and strict pursuit protocols. On paper, they had everything they needed. Most of their pursuit fleet was made up of two main vehicles: the Ford Police Interceptor Utility, better known as the Explorer, and the Dodge Charger Pursuit. The Explorer ran a 3.0-liter EcoBoost Phi-6 pushing around 400 horsepower. It could hit 60 miles per hour in roughly 6 seconds and top out near 150. The Charger, with its 5.7-liter Hemi 5.8, wasn't far behind. With 370 horsepower, about the same top speed, and a similar 0 to 60 time. Both were heavy armored workhorses weighing well over 2 tons, built for reliability and safety, not raw speed. And that's the problem. These were fast cars, for SUVs and sedans. But against a Corvette Z06, they had no chance. There is 3.3-second difference in 0 to 60 miles per hour. And this gap is enormous. Also, the fact that there is 50 miles per hour difference in top speed didn't help neither. And when it came to handling, things got even worse. Where the Z06 can take the turn effortlessly, SUVs are heavy and need to slow down. However, all these differences aren't important if the driver isn't prepared to succeed. Street racers need tactics, and the stolen Z06 knew that he had to master them. The world of street racing is ruthless. There are no second chances. One mistake, and your life is gone, or even worse, you end up straight to the jail. Therefore, the stolen Z06 had to respect street racers' tactics and develop his own. Tactic number 1, the night advantage. The stolen Z06 almost exclusively operated at night. And there's a reason for that. After midnight, police departments run skeleton crews, fewer patrol units on the streets, longer response times, officers working graveyard shifts, fighting fatigue. But more importantly, in the darkness, a blacked-out Corvette becomes a ghost. Most of the street racers have no chrome, no reflective surfaces and taillights, and even those could be killed with a switch. These drivers often install kill switches that disable brake lights and headlights with the flip of a hidden toggle. During nighttime chases, this creates an invisibility cloak. By the time a cop sees you in the dark, you're already 3 car lengths ahead and accelerating into the void. And if you kill your lights and take a hard corner, you've vanished. Tactic number 2, home field advantage. The stolen Z06 didn't run randomly. He knew Charlotte like the back of his hand. Every side street, every alley, every parking garage with multiple exits. Street racers call this mapping your escape routes. Before you ever hit the throttle, you know exactly where you're going if things go wrong. You memorize which roads have dead ends, which neighborhoods have speed bumps, which intersections have cameras and which don't, and of course, which routes lead to highway on-ramps where you can disappear into traffic. Tactic number 3, creating distance immediately. When police lights flash, every second matters. The Z06's 0 to 60 time of 3 seconds means that in the time it takes a police car to react, shift gears, and start pursuing, the stolen Z06 has already created a 200-foot gap. That gap is psychological warfare. By the time the officer reaches cruising speed, the taillights are distant red dots. And in a pursuit, once you create distance, the advantage compounds. The officer has to catch up while navigating traffic. You just need to maintain. Tactic number 4, the vanishing act. Once you've created that gap, the next move is to disappear. Street racers use a technique called breaking line of sight. Here's how it works. You take a hard corner at high speed, something your sports car can handle, but a top-heavy police SUV has to slow down for. The second you're out of visual range, you kill your lights and take an immediate turn. And in that moment of confusion, you're 3 turns away, parked in a dark lot, engine off, invisible. Tactic number 5, avoiding the helicopter. The stolen Z06 understood something important. If you get the 5 stars, you are totally cooked. Police helicopters are the street racer's worst nightmare. Doesn't matter how fast your car is, you can't outrun a helicopter. Therefore, our criminal had to find the police weaknesses, and he did it. police choppers cost thousands of dollars per hour to operate. They don't launch for every pursuit, but for only the serious ones. And they take time to deploy. If you can end the chase quickly, break line of sight, and get off the streets before the helicopter arrives, you win. That's why the whole game is speed and efficiency. Get in, make the run, disappear before aviation units get airborne. For 10 documented attempts, police tried to catch the stolen Z06. 10 times, he vanished. And everything seems to go well for our driver. For a second, he was on top of the world, the uncatchable street racer. He became increasingly provocative, feeding his Instagram with even more arrogant videos. But what comes up must come down. Charlotte-Mecklenburg police knew they couldn't beat him on the street, so they got smarter. They formed Operation Scarlet, stolen car and recovery law enforcement team. Specialized detectives were assigned to track the stolen Z06. At first, they thought the car was stolen, but after a few weeks of investigation, they realized it wasn't, which made the whole situation even more ironic. So they shifted focus from recovering a stolen car to apprehending a serial offender. The driver's ego became his weakness. Posting every win meant posting every location. Detectives began pattern analysis. What time did he post? Which roads appeared most often? What areas did he frequent? And slowly, they built a profile. Carlos Clark, 21 years old. Charlotte resident. They knew where he lived, and now they just needed one mistake. And that mistake was coming. March 28, 2024. Officers spotted the black Z06. They attempted a traffic stop, and the driver did exactly what everyone expected: hit the gas. However, this time the police were ready. They moved to box the Corvette. Quickly, the stolen Z06 found himself surrounded by patrol vehicles. Thus, he made the decision that changed everything. Instead of stopping, the Corvette intentionally rammed a CMPD patrol vehicle. A deliberate strike to create an opening. And the fact that the officer behind the Corvette pushed him was a terrible mistake that helped the Z06 slip through the gap, and he disappeared for the 11th time. But this time, there was no escape. This time, they knew exactly where the driver was going. The Corvette fled to a home on Merida Drive. Carlos abandoned the car and barricaded himself inside the residence. A standoff ensued. Negotiators were called. The neighborhood was surrounded. Carlos Clark was arrested. But no one was ready for what came next. When detectives executed the search warrant, they found more than just a street racer. They found a full-scale drug trafficking operation. Here's what was inside the home. The 2018 Chevrolet Corvette Z06. Large quantities of mushrooms and other controlled substances. 4 firearms, an AK-47, 2 AR-15, and a Glock handgun. $1,950 in cash. The charges came fast and heavy. Felony flee and elude arrest with a motor vehicle. Hit and run with property damage. Reckless driving. Assault with a deadly weapon. Resisting a public officer. Possession of narcotics with intent to distribute. However, even with all of this, the bond was set for only $20,000. Carlos was back out the same day and restarted posting like nothing happened. In the comments of his posts, Carlos disputed the police allegations, writing, "They literally took it down because it's not true. They just wanted to put a face on it." And from that day, the story got stranger because Carlos Clark wasn't alone. April 19th, 2024, just 3 weeks after Carlos's arrest, police made another arrest. Christopher Clark, Carlos's twin brother. Both brothers lived at the home where the drugs and weapons were found, and according to court documents, both brothers' identification was recovered during the search. Christopher was charged with possession of illegal substances. But here's the mystery that nobody can answer. Was Christopher also driving during some of those chases? Think about it. Twin brothers, same build, same age, possibly same car access. Were there actually 2 drivers behind the stolen Z06 account? Was this a coordinated operation with one brother running while the other managed logistics? Or were the twins simply partners in a drug trafficking operation, with Carlos handling the street racing side for publicity? The truth is, we may never know. What we do know is this: the legend of the stolen Z06 was built on more than just speed. It was built on strategy, technology, and an understanding of both the machine and the system chasing it. In the end, the stolen Z06 proved something that street racers have known for decades. With the right car, the right tactics, and the right knowledge, you can disappear into the night. But he also proved something else. No matter how fast you are, no matter how smart you think you are, ego is the ultimate trap. And legends disappear just as fast as they appear.